So, as a film director, can I just take a minute to establish everything that's wrong with this movie visually? Hey, Legend of the Titanic. Made in 1999, The Legend of the Titanic.
That reason?
Please stop interrupting me. I am trying to make sure I don't screw this up. And every damn time, you butcher me.
You're welcome.
The Legend of the Titanic is an Italian animated movie directed by Orlando Carandi and Kim J.O.K. What? That's his name.
That's actually
okay.
That's his name. You can't.
Directed 2 films. Wait for it. This one, and then a little one we'll hear a little later.
Oh, I'm gonna butcher that one. Wikipedia notes that the film is a very loose dramatization of the sinking of the Titanic and features several fantasy elements such as talking animals. Yeah, that doesn't sum it up enough.
Very loose is being nice.
Yeah.
That's being nice. Doug Walker popularized the film in a review for his popular I can't say that word.
Nostalgia.
Thank you. Critics series, where he noted that the film is one of 2 animated remakes of James Cameron's Titanic. The film has a sequel titled Tentacolino. Tentacolino.
Also directed by Kim J.O.K.
Kim Jong-un. That's what you almost said.
I know, because there's this really funny meme. I just realized this. There's this really, really funny meme where it was Kim Jong-il and he's got he's attached to a one of those, an IV tube, and it says Kim Jong-ok and the IV tube is gone. It's the funniest thing.
So, for all intents and purposes, if you're watching this on YouTube, what I will do is somewhere on this screen, I will play a tiny bit of the movie. So you can watch, as we talk about this, what I'm going to talk about. Because this movie...
How are you going to do that? You must be a skilled
I'm good at this. And I know what I'm doing sometimes.
She's good.
Watch it.
Anyway,
This was a good hire.
Because this wasn't good enough. Anyway, now that they're quiet, this movie basically establishes that this is not an English movie. If any of you watch cartoons or anime that's not in English, you will know that as soon as you translate it to English, most voice actors will take the time to watch the mouth movements and try and pan in some English to match it. This movie evidently didn't do that because the voice acting in here is not only terrible, but it doesn't match the mouth movement. So sometimes the mouth will be closed and somebody's talking. That doesn't make sense. The other thing that they do is they tried to, in the 1990s, they start having computer-generated, 3D things, right? You notice the animation of the
This
ship.
should not need
They go
CG.
into the basically the movie screensaver.
Yeah, they basically go in and it's a terrible Microsoft screensaver where you're going through the ship, the Titanic ship at night. And it's so poorly done because it's an anime clashes with horrible Microsoft screensaver and boom, movie. No, you can't do that. That doesn't work. It looks terrible. So from that standpoint alone, just on that, and the other thing that made me laugh about this movie was the credits. The credits were, there was one original song in this movie. One original song. They put it in the credits. And the credits were so short. I actually timed it. The credits were 1 minute and 10 seconds long. And then they spent the rest of the time at a black screen, letting the song play in the background. It was just literally a black screen. And you just sit there and you're listening to this terrible song. And you're crying because you're like, I can't believe I just watched that. And then they have this black screen. It's you couldn't have put anything else in there. You couldn't have slowed down the credits a little bit so you'd have something to look at. No, you just whiz through the credits in black screen.
In other words, it's a very cheaply made film.
Oh, you could tell it was awkward.
Yeah.
It was a cheaply made. The storyline itself was also so bad.
I feel like the biggest downfall of this movie is the budget. If this thing had a little more budget.
No, that was
a little more budget.
That's one.
A little more budget and sticks to its guns.
No.
That's one. Two.
The biggest downfall to this movie is, this movie.
Yeah.
This thing.
This movie was the
talking
downfall.
animals. The whole. You've probably seen most of this in the Scotch Critic review already. The whole whaling rights
Gang of
thing.
sharks.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Here's
Wait, Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead. Go.
The
I'll wait for it. Go.
Basically, like, if you're gonna have talking animals in your world, make it believable. That's your first goal, because Disney manages to do it. Like,
Yes.
Disney can do it. If you can put an animal in a movie, and if the human is questioning why I can speak to animals,
It's like when we
Well-
talked about the horror movies earlier. When as soon as they explained how she could talk to the dolphins, the movie lost itself.
well,
Well,
Make a
partly
better
because
explanation.
they were doing drugs when they came up with that reason.
magical
But
moon
how-
tears.
I will help you guys, all you aspiring directors out there. I will help you out.
Oh God!
If
Tips
you
from Michael.
if you are making a disaster movie, don't have talking animals. It's not gonna fit.
Well,
It
no.
doesn't.
If you're gonna have talking animals as well, make it believable. First of all, Elizabeth, I'm gonna call her Rose because she's freaking Rose. She's
Rose.
not
She's
Elizabeth.
Rose.
She's
I mean,
Rose.
I mean, you wouldn't know because she has no character. But
Yeah.
Rose. I mean Rose.
Daddy, I want to marry the Spanish guy who I've never met before. Whatever makes you happy, sweetie. Yay! No, learning. But if you're gonna have talking animals in this movie, like, I can't believe the Spanish guy didn't even catch on to that either. Like, the Spanish guy had a dog, right? The dog apparently talks. So why is it that the guy can believe that these rats are talking, but his dog doesn't?
well,
And
he
then all of a
does
sudden
dance with his dog.
He's dancing, like, they have a huge party on the front of the ship with all these dancing rats. And Elizabeth, as soon as the rats come up to her, they're like, "Hi, Elizabeth." And Elizabeth is more than happy to talk to them. You're like, whoa.
She's like, "Oh, what's up?" I'd just be like, "No." You'd be like, "Holy crap!
No,
Animals are talking to me. I finally snapped."
I've
and then you
lost
jump off the radar.
Yeah.
Like,
And then when the
this
dolphins,
is not how humans
and
react to this.
the ship is going at like 60 knots or something. I don't know how fast the Titanic was going.
Well, they
Probably
didn't actually
fairly
talk
slow.
about that
Well,
because
no, but anyway, a ship is going
The movie
pretty-
was right not to bring that up because they just
It was
fucked
going
up.
pretty damn
Yeah.
fast. How do dolphins levitate at that height? Like, they're levitating over the ship.
dolphins can fly.
Hi, Elizabeth. We can talk to you because you cried magical moon tears.
It's kind of, I love that. It's
Well,
like
it's
literally
moon
the-
tears that intersected with the magical moon dust.
This
I'm
is
like,
literally.
Yeah.
This is literally
I'm
like,
like,
the
I
explanation.
have heard 6-year-old tales that are more believable than what you have just told me.
No,
The
it's not even
explanation-
believable into the world.
the
And
ex-
again, it's like, if you want to make a movie about magical moon dust and moon tears and all of this crap that allows you to talk to animals, maybe doing it on a historical tragedy isn't the way to go. Like,
No.
either have the Titanic or have your magical moon dust
Yeah.
witchcraft talking to animals because we say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the actual explanation for the tears has got to be the dumbest thing. Like it
Oh,
literally
it was.
says,
It was
"Your
last
tear caught a net of magical moonbeams, and now you can speak to animals." What? That wouldn't make any sense. Like,
how
is
do I
her
do
tear-
that?
Not
Is
only
that, is
not only
that
that-
something we can do?
Not only
Reproduce
that,
it?
but how does her tear, like something that's physically not touching her
Attached
body,
to our body
Yeah.
anymore. I'm like,
No.
I'll be blunt. I have heard a lot of stupid stuff in my life, and that may be talking to her one of the stupidest things I've ever heard.
It is really not
The other
brilliant.
thing is animal ratio size, right? If you want to make an animal in a movie and make it like believable to your world, don't change the size of the animals in the movie. Like, I
That would be a
swear
good
that
idea.
octopus at one point was the size of the shark
Yeah,
and then grew to be the size of the Titanic.
And then grew to be the size of New York.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, you can't, like, is this octopus growing this entire time? Like,
Technically, no.
Oh, okay. No, I think I got it. You know how when
moon tears were
when I was young, you used to be able to go out into the store and buy those like tiny foam animals.
oh yeah, and you
What
put
they
an
do.
animal.
Maybe it's actually one
Oh
of
my
those.
Yes.
That would actually make more sense.
Perfect. Oh my god.
I figured it out.
That would be perfect. Oh my God.
Okay, so instead of ranting about the animals, let's actually talk about
'Cause
why
we
this
can.
Let's
Here's-
talk about why this movie's insulting.
Here's the issue with this movie. It's not that it says that everyone lived in the Titanic.
Oh no,
Except
that's
they
it.
It's not that. It's that it attempts to backtrack on that at the end. At the
No.
very last. No, it is.
Well, even at
It's
the
insulting to it's insulting to children. The children know when you're doing a cop out. You're trying to say, whoa, we don't want anyone to get mad at this. This never actually happened. Grandpa's just crazy.
No, the part
That
that-
no, that's frustrating. If you want to, if
No,
you want to say
that's-
something like this, stick to your guns. That's the one
I
thing
disagree.
Pearl Harbor does. It sticks to
I
its
disagree.
guns. Like,
because that's just what we talked about being disingenuous. But what offends me is that this movie doesn't start off saying The following 80 minutes are complete bullshit. We
Yeah.
have made them solely
No.
for your
They
entertainment.
tried to
Please
make it
enjoy it now.
believable.
No.
And then it
Wait.
backtracks on
Yeah.
it. And then it says, oh,
So
the
what?
following 8 minutes are bullshit.
Then
That's the
it's
frustrating part.
bullshit anyway. It's annoying that it says it at the end, and it's annoying that it starts off within the first minute of this movie by saying
Yeah.
nobody who was on the Titanic actually died.
Yeah,
People were just confused.
The
I'm
lines when
People
it was-
have relatives who died on there.
Yeah.
They are going to want to, like, I don't know,
Kill
freaking
somebody.
stake you to a tree.
No.
Like,
Yeah, because basically
and
the line
then
was,
it says this is
Dad
all
or
bullshit.
Grandpa, didn't the Titanic sink? Well, not exactly.
Oh, it's
'Cause
a big misunderstanding.
and
no, it sank.
yeah,
You
and even
can't
in the
deny
movie,
that
it's
it
sick. You
fucking
can't-
sank.
If you want to make a movie about a world in which the Titanic didn't sink or the sinking was averted, and I mean that actually could be a really interesting movie.
Yeah, it would be an interesting
but
movie.
say it up front.
And
Yeah.
don't backtrack
We
on it.
know how reality happened, and we're telling our own story.
And
Yeah.
don't backtrack on
Or
it.
say
Don't-
in an alternate, like, make it almost seem like it's a human-like realm that's not human-like.
Actually,
Yeah.
that
And they
reminds me.
kind of do that with the talking animals, but just don't even go there from the start. It's too recent.
Yeah.
It's kind of like someone starting off a movie with a German guy saying to his friend, "Oh, you know, I'm sure glad that Holocaust didn't happen." And I'm like, you can't just say that without having something up front saying, "We know what
we know
happened.
this happened.
This just isn't where this particular
Well,
story
let's
is
say,
going."
this is
And-
going to go back to the whole anime type thing, but Full Metal Alchemist, I think, does this really well, because Full Metal Alchemist takes place in a 1910 sort of era, but happens in a dimension that's not sort of our world.
Yeah.
So that's why anything they do
Yeah.
there
It's just
is
alternate
believable. So anything that they can make fun of, like World War One references, obviously that happen in
Oh,
there,
yeah.
right? They World War One was a tragedy. Everybody can agree World War One was a tragedy, and it was
I hope
awful
so.
and it was bad. But the fact that they do it in a place where it's like we know it happened, but it didn't happen here
It's fine.
is fine. In this world, they try to make it seem like this is our world. This is what happened in our world, and you can't
And
do
then
that
they make
because
that
that's
claim.
That's
And
just
just
what
like
makes
with
it
that joke
insulting.
statement I said like 2 minutes ago, we were already starting to get offended.
Yeah,
It's because of you're acknowledging the perspective of the audience and you're shaping their expectations from the get-go. In one way, you're acknowledging that they're smart enough to understand what happened in history, and you're telling a different story.
and
And
then
then
you have
one,
to backtrack.
you're pretending to be reality, and then you claim, "Oh, yeah, it was actually completely different. A dead grandma won't totally mind us, just crapping all over her grave."
no, frick.
Yeah, just
It was
don't do that. That's
on top of that, this is a hard movie to watch because everything is just so bad in terms of production. And it's weirdly racist too. That's what's
It's
great about
incredibly
it.
racist.
That the
What's
Brazilian
got to me-
mouse that plays soccer, that's like the dumbest thing.
one of the things that really got to me is Nostalgia Critic used to make a reference in his movies to noise, like not audio noise, but just visual noise, like dangling your keys in front of a kid's face to distract him if your kid is really dumb or something,
Yeah.
or easily amused or quite young. This movie has a lot of scenes that actually feel just like that. Like the part where he's dancing with his dog. Does dancing with his dog contribute to the story?
no.
The part where they kick the soccer
Is
balls
this
at the
an
guy.
important part of his character? No. Does this need to be here for any reason at all except to pad out the runtime? No.
No.
It doesn't belong.
What's insane is that we're talking about padding out the runtime, and the movie is
It's
80
only 80
minutes
minutes.
long.
Yeah. Well,
There's
that's
nothing
I think
here.
that's partly it. Is this movie? If this movie knew what it wanted to do with itself, it wouldn't have trouble filling 80 minutes. It may be that it extends the story or the time period covered. It may be that you dwell on character for a large part of that time, but it wouldn't have difficulty filling its runtime.
That loves
This movie has difficulty filling half its runtime.
There is a scene in which a Brazilian mouse kicks a soccer ball at the villain, and he gets sent down the ship.
Well,
That is the dumbest thing in the history of
oh
ever.
god! You also forgot the part where the Brazilian mouse
Played
does
soccer on a
soccer
tightrope.
on a rope
Forgot the part where the
Because
Brazilian
he
mouse
is-
mentions that he's not racist.
because he is Brazilian and he plays soccer, and then says that this is what Brazilian mice do. And I'm
Right.
like,
Not
if
only
you
that,
want to have a mouse that's good at soccer, fine. If you want to talk about how the Brazilian soccer team is awesome, go ahead. But just coming up and being like, all Brazilian people are good at soccer because that's what Brazilian
That's
people are
really
known for.
stereotyping.
It's racist.
Not only
It's
that,
offensive.
Not only that, but the timeline of association football, soccer never made it to Brazil until like the 30s.
Well, I don't think we have to worry about that. I don't think the movie could even get basic facts right. But the other thing is, why does this happen? It's another key scene. It's just like, 1 minute they're taking ship protocol, and the guy swoons over some girl, which I don't know if that even goes anywhere. I doubt it does. And then all of a sudden, there's a guy playing soccer because he's Brazilian. I'm like, this doesn't need to be here. You're wasting time.
I'm going to add to that because it's evident that even as much as this movie will try to deny, this is a parody of Titanic, James Cameron's Titanic. We've
This is
discussed
not
could
a
have
parody.
made
This is
better
a
parodies,
No. The key thing in James Cameron's Titanic is the relationship between Rose and Jack. That is the key thing. It's what drives the story.
That's part of the issue.
minus the fact that
I'm not sure
Their
if that
love story-
relationship has
their
ever been
love-
more believable
the
than it
love
was here.
story in this is just
It's like,
so
what, one
not
line of dialogue
believable.
together?
No, they had one word.
They, like,
They
one
didn't even talk to
word.
each other and they start making out on a pool chat. Thank you, my friends. It's like, first of all, you are mice. Second of all, you've sniffed this girl's glove and automatically she's your soulmate.
Well, the one thing that amazes me is that, first off, his dog clearly has a game plan.
Yeah.
Because
Dog is the best.
dogs randomly do that.
Talk to mice
And
and cats.
goes up and ogles Rose's breasts, which is kind of tactless in and of itself.
Weird.
Like,
Yeah.
even if, granted, she has breasts, but you're establishing this as one of the focal points of her character because we just met her. Like, really? Boobs?
She's beautiful, like Swan
And the
Princess.
dog wants in on that? Like, that's just
The
disturbing. on
mice
so many
even
levels.
wanted in on that.
That's the
That's-
best part.
what
At
the
least
hell?
I'm not a racist.
And the first thing he
That's not
does
even
is
racist, that's
snatch away her glove and tosses it to the male lead, who then, right in front of her, proceeds to take a deep whiff of this, like he's getting off on this or something. And Rose doesn't immediately think, "Father, get security."
Yeah.
What the hell?
No,
That's
she
freaking creepy.
She thinks, oh, I got
She's
to
like,
get with him.
"Oh, how sweet."
No,
He loves my glove.
I'm not going to lie. If somebody did that, if I had a glove, if I was
I'd be like,
Elizabeth
"Give me my
Rose.
fucking glove
If I
back,
was-
you creep!"
If I
and
was
slap
Elizabeth,
it.
if I was Elizabeth Rose and you were whoever the hell Antonio, whatever his name was, I don't know. He's
Ass
Spanish.
clown.
Joe. It was
Whatever.
Joe. It was Joe, wasn't it?
It's Jack. Anyway, it's Jack and Rose. If I was Rose and my glove flew off, your dog had just assaulted me, and you're sniffing my glove, I would be so far gone.
Yes. This is not the beginning of a romantic relationship.
No, that's not how you
No.
do a relationship. And then the next time we see each other will be with a bunch of little mice getting us together playing their little violins. So I don't even
And we
know
have to
how
hope that we
hear.
don't accidentally step on one of them or kick them off the deck while we're
Yeah.
dancing.
Frick.
We are totally doing Tentaclino for Insults to Humanity, the sequel. Unnecessary
Yes,
sequels
because I want to tear it apart.
edition. Unnecessary sequels edition. We're
That-
totally doing it.
You can tell we really come to this with a
Can we just-
unbiased perspective. Ha ha ha.
This movie
We
didn't
don't
even need to
care.
be made in the first place, so the fact that there's a sequel.
Yeah.
There's a sequel to what is considered to be the worst animated movie of all time. That is the best. Okay, quick ratings. Michael, go. Out of 5, do you have a rating?
You know,
I can't even rate it.
this movie is almost unrateable.
Yeah, I can't rate it.
I would say
I don't know.
well, I have to look at this. How entertaining was this movie? This movie was very
This movie
entertaining
was
for me,
fascinatingly entertaining.
only
It's like The
because
Room.
it was so awful.
It's like
Yeah.
The Room. It's fascinatingly
It's
entertaining.
fascinatingly entertaining. Could I recommend this movie to other? I could never recommend this movie to another person in my life.
I could, but on the caveat that it's like The Room.
It would have to be people who got that.
Yeah.
Because anyone else, this movie will offend you.
Mhm.
You will be appalled. You will be like demanding this guy's head in the streets.
I'm
And
surprised he's not
I
there.
can't blame you for that because the movie does such a poor job of setting itself up.
It's so
I'm gonna have to say half a star. You know, it's so redeeming factor. When we look at it,
That it's bad.
the only reason you would ever consider watching this is because it's really bad and that makes it entertaining.
And it's
Yeah.
on YouTube.
That's it.
Yeah.
There is no other reason you would
No,
watch this
The
movie.
funny thing about YouTube is they had it on a playlist. So I watched it, I walked away, and I come back, and it's playing again.
Yes.
It keeps going.
It never ends.
I
just
will also
want it to
add
die.
the YouTube captioning for this movie is glorious.
Yeah, it's really
Okay.
bad.
I think it
It's
got
so
a single
awful.
word right.
I don't think it. Well, maybe we'll
Okay.
see. I gave it 1.5 out of 5.
You gave it a 1.
I gave it a 1.5. Yes.
You gave it almost a 2, which
I-
is a 40% rating.
What is wrong with it?
I don't think it's the worst thing ever. I was really entertained by watching this.
Well, yeah, well, that's, like I
Okay.
say,
But I'd
but
give
the
the room
only
something
reason
similar.
you
I'd give the
recommend it
room
is for
something.
that.
But I'd give the room
God.
something similar.
Tom, no.
So I'm giving it 1.5 out of 5. I don't think it's the worst thing ever.
Okay, you know what? I will adjust my score and match yours. Solely because I have to account for movies that are not only really awful and really offensive, but also lack any entertaining value.
Yeah, like
And
Scooby-Doo
this movie,
is the one that
Whether I agree with this movie or not, it did have entertaining value in it's freaking awful way.
I mean, it wasn't.
So I can't give it the minimum score.
It wasn't a Raja Gosnell movie, and that's pretty much what I saved my half stars for. So
I will also say that ethically, you will want to give it the lowest rating you possibly can.
Okay,
You will be offended.
You guys are going to give it a 1.
1.5.
I'll give it a
I'm
1.
going to
You
give
won't
it
care.
3/4 of a star.
Really? You're
Yes.
gonna do this?
I can't do it. Just because a movie's entertaining doesn't mean that that overcomes what the movie actually is. And I'm sorry, I know it's entertaining, but I can't overlook everything else that's wrong with this movie just because it's entertaining.
There is
No, I can't
everything
do
wrong
it.
with
I
this
can't
I
movie.
do it.
can't
That's
do
why.
it.
That's why it's 1.5.
No, I can't
I
even
can
give it. I
overlook-
can't give it a 1.
I can overlook all of the terrible. I overlook everything.
I'm not
troll
overlooking
too.
I
anything.
can't overlook
Oh
anything.
my god.
Well, no, like I'm
It's
not
there.
overlooking it. It's there. It's appalling. I've judged it in my ranking.
Mhm.
The only reason it's not getting less is because there is some small part of the entertainment experience that, ironically and probably not intentionally, turned out to be enjoyable.
This movie was so
That's-
enjoyable picking
I
out.
can't-
Otherwise, I wouldn't even give it that.
I can't watch this again. I can't do it.
I don't think I'll watch it again either.
I
but-
won't do it. I'm not going to bring myself to do that again. It took mental effort afterwards to sit there and think about my life. Like, I
Well,
can't do it. I can't bring myself to give it a 1 just because of the entertainment.
Nice. Okay.
That pretty much summarizes what we think of this.
Yeah. Let's move on to the last film.